Coming up, the Catawba Nation Police Department in South Carolina hires its first officer. An award-winning sculptor works with marble, creating stunning pieces. And the U.S. Forest Service is helping tribes with cultural tourism. How clean energy is at the front of mind for One Nation in California. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines on the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Support for the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez comes from the Arizona PBS studios in Phoenix at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Arizona State University.
Amidawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. We start today in Washington, D.C., where the stage is set for President Joe Biden to give his third State of the Union address. Last year, he only mentioned tribes once and didn't speak to any tribal-specific issues. It is unclear if that will be different this year. So far, New Mexico congressional members Gabe Vasquez and Teresa Leger Fernandez have Indigenous guests for this year's address.
Well, he's going to talk about the progress we've made in a number of fronts, and I think you will be excited about what you're going to see and hear tomorrow, because the thing about it is, while we're proud of what we've done, we're really about talking about the future. And we know we have more to do in Indian country.
I brought and invited, and I'm so glad that Mr. Harrison accepted my invitation to be my State of the Union guest, because Congress we get to write the end of this story. It is our job to say this story should end with justice. This story should end by expanding the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act to cover all of the downwinders and all of the uranium miners and workers.
The State of the Union is a yearly speech that sets the president's agenda for the upcoming year. In Alaska, millions in funding is going toward clean energy initiatives in rural places. 5 projects are set to receive $125 million from the U.S. Department of Energy, all in an effort to increase reliable access to energy in remote areas. The money will pay for solar and hydrogrid developments for things like electricity and reliable heating. It will also help bolster energy for fish processing, water systems, and tourism. Out of the 17 states to receive this funding, the DOE awarded more money to Alaska than any other state. A health study supported by the National Institutes of Health shows some concerning news. Over 70% of Indigenous young adults aged 20 through 39 and 50% of Indigenous teens have cholesterol levels high enough to put them at risk for heart disease. The research, published by the American Heart Association, followed more than 1,400 participants aged 15 through 39. The 19-year review was part of the Strong Heart Study, which is the largest of its kind for American Indians. According to researchers, the findings indicate that early screenings are very important for at-risk youth. A new study shows Native American communities suffer from high rates of skin cancer. ICT's Ashley Sinclair tells us how difficulties in gathering data may be part of the issue.
A study found in the medical journal JAMA Dermatology found that community areas near federally recognized tribal lands experienced higher rates of melanoma, more than elsewhere in the country. But the researchers cautioned that the data collected in Native communities is often skewed because these subjects can be racially misidentified. And that, says Advocate Echo Hawk from the Seattle Indian Health Board, harms Native communities.
Because of racial misclassification, we don't have all of the data we need for our tribal leaders, for our state leaders, for those in Congress to make the correct allocations of resources to us.
The JAMA Dermatology authors called for further study to find the root causes of the high cancer rates and an end to ineffective data gathering practices, something Echo Hawk called long overdue.
It results in our people getting cancer and potentially dying. That's an incredible impact in our community, and we call that a data genocide. And we need to call it for what it is. We know our people are dying as a direct result. Racial misclassification is embedded into the way that they gather data.
Ashley Sinclair, ICT News.
In Southeast Alaska, Native leaders and Chilkat weavers are celebrating the return of an ancient robe after donors purchased it at a Seattle auction. Through the Burke Museum in Washington State, it was gifted to the Sealaska Heritage Institute. Weavers and elders gathered honoring the garment, which is over 150 years old, with traditional songs and dances. Many said the robe symbolizes the identity of Southeast Alaska Native communities. Many historic robes remain in distant collections or museums, highlighting the ongoing preservation challenges for tribes across the country. In South Dakota, a new community center is giving Two-Spirit relatives a safe space. A Lakota couple in Rapid City created the state's first Indigenous-led Two-Spirit space named Uniting Resilience. That opened at the end of February. The center will provide counseling and job assistance. The term Two-Spirit relates to a person who identifies as having both masculine and feminine spirits. It is also used by some Indigenous individuals to describe their sexual, gender, or spiritual identity. The center will also share resources with the South Dakota Coalition Ending Domestic Violence. We head now to the Catawba Nation in South Carolina to meet Isaac Rodgers, the first tribal citizen to be sworn in to the tribe's police department. It's a milestone on the nation's road to restoring sovereignty. Stewart Huntington has the story.
Tanake, my name is Isaac Rodgers. I'm the tribal sergeant of police for the Catawba Nation. I've always wanted to come back on the reservation and police. As a kid, I always had that dream. It seems a little cliche, but I wanted to grow up and be a police officer. That was my number one goal.
But until recently, doing that in his nation was not possible. 4 years ago, the Tribal Council conducted a survey and found
they wanted their own justice system. The Catawba people wanted their own courts. They wanted their own police department because they have been historically underserved in many facets, and law enforcement being one of those.
In 2021, with the opening of the Catawba Two Kings Casino in neighboring North Carolina, the tribe finally had the resources to make some changes.
When the tribe began gaming, it gave them a revenue stream that allows them to really expand their services to their people. And fortunately, our department was one of those first services to be directly funded from gaming revenue.
Which led recently to Rodgers getting sworn in as the first tribal citizen in the Catawba Police Department.
To me, it means that I can come back and be a direct service to my people. So being able to come out and say, hey, I am going to have a direct impact on the relationship of my people and the police department and how they, view police. And it wasn't so good before, mostly due to lack of response times and things like that with the local sheriff's office and whatnot. So, being able to come in and be there when people call and they make those 911 calls and they have, I guess, a quicker, more immediate response than, having to wait 10, 15 minutes or, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how many calls the sheriff's office has. So it means a lot. And to me, to be able to be the first tribal citizen, it means that I have the opportunity to demonstrate that, it can be done. And, people message me all the time and like, hey, man, good to have you. We're excited that, we have a tribal citizen in the police department. It's an opportunity to be an example to other young tribal citizens and help them, maybe if they are wanting to pursue a career in law enforcement in the future, say, hey, well, we have this great opportunity here on the tribe to, be a tribal police officer.
My job is to work myself out of a job and be replaced by a Catawba citizen. We want to grow our own. We want Catawbas serving Catawbas.
And the tribe's ambitions are not small.
We're in the process of designing and constructing our tribal court and police department. So it's going to be called the Tribal Court and Peacemaking Center. And we did have that translated into Catawba, which will be prominently displayed on the sign. The Catawba people make peace here is what the translation will be. So very proud of that. And, that's just another example of how we're trying to weave in the culture into everything that we do for the Justice Center.
Steps that are crucial for a tribe's walk toward full sovereignty, says legal expert Dick Trudell.
If you're going to be a government, you got to act like the government. That means you got to have a judicial system, you got to have public safety programs, and you have to have legal infrastructure. It's all a part of the growth process, that tribes have been going through.
Stewart, Huntington, ICT News.
The U.S. Forest System is partnering with an Indigenous tourism organization to advance cultural tourism with the tribes across the country. ICT's Shirley Sneve has the story of a Northern California tribe looking to advance clean energy.
The Pitt River Tribe in Northern California will develop a master plan for tourism with this 2-year grant. Geraldine Spencer chairs the Kwan Board of Directors, which is the economic development arm of the tribe.
The biggest thing we want to focus on is basically like clean energy. In the area where we're located, where we're working on erecting a project at, it's kind of like the hub of 4 directions. They're coming up from Reno, Nevada. They're coming from up there in Oregon, up in Alturas, and then of course, the southern people come up this way from Sacramento, San Francisco, to come up and visit the area. There's a lot of attractions going on. We have like the Bernie Falls, and we have caves, subway caves, and then we also have the beautiful campgrounds in the area. Is what the tourists come in and spend the weekend during the holiday season. In the summer, they come and stay. And so a lot of places, the tourists that come in, it's roughly probably maybe at least, I would say maybe 100 miles, both all 4 directions where the tourists come from. And so along the way, there's rubbish that is tossed out the window. And so our place plan on, probably erecting maybe, a gas station there, a hotel, you could get into the hospitality, and there'd be a place, where they could, throw their rubbish away and then, stay and probably journey on their way. So that's kind of like what the highlight is the clean energy. Tourism is huge right now, and I think that's the place to be, such as Bernie and such a beautiful area up here. With our stories, and monuments that we would be placed around the area, we would be able to share our stories. I kind of like have it envisioned of, out there where we're going to develop, the hotel and the truck stop gas station. We could have like a big old area out there and set up these monuments talking about, our tribe and a lot of places where, the tourists can go and visit. And, we want to be able to bring our native people jewelry in and a lot of their arts, and then the community as well. And, share our stories, our culture with them. And, like when these tourists, come in and hear of the Pitt River Tribe and, buy some of our jewelry. And, because anytime I want to, go, to different tribal places, tribal area, I always want to, bring back, a lot of their jewelry. It's like the jewelry I'm wearing now. I think this came from way over in Arkansas or someplace, and people look at the earrings and it's like, oh, those are beautiful. Where'd you get that at? And I share, with, the stories that I got from that tribe. And, it's like they say, wow, you know what? I'm going to go over there one of these days. I'm going to go check it out. And so, with our stories being told with the artwork and the tribal stories, these stories, will travel and will bring tourists back, into our area. And our stories, not only disappear, but, they will carry on with, the conversation.
Shirley, Sneve, ICT News.
Nu no Apagavach Astai, which is Ute for I like to speak Ute. Nu is an I, no Apagavach is to speak Ute, and Astai is in to like or to love. Nu no Apagavach Astai, I like to speak Ute.
A gallery in South Minneapolis is expanding its audience through a unique partnership. The director of the All My Relations Gallery is Angela Two Stars. ICT's Shirley Snave has this interview.
I'm really intrigued about this exhibit with the Swedish Institute. That doesn't seem like a likely partnership. You want to tell me about it?
Sure. I mean, the American Swedish Institute is also located here in South Minneapolis, and they reached out to us over a year ago to share that they were having this exhibition, this traveling exhibition called Arctic Highways, Unbounded Indigenous Peoples. And it just started this conversation and this relationship about their organization, our kind of closeness and vicinity of our neighborhood, and wanting to connect our audiences to what became this deeper understanding of our similar cultural similarities with the Sami people, their relationship to reindeer, Plains Indians' relationship with buffalo, also like the impacts of language that for Sami people and also Native people and boarding schools. And so there was a recognition of these similarities that our audiences could understand of each other through an exhibition. And the more that we and the artists talked, the more we recognized kind of the work that we're doing to heal through cultural reconnection. Here at All My Relations, we have this exhibition that is called Okizi. And Okizi is the Dakota word for to heal. And we have 3 invited artists. We have Keith Braveheart, Courtney Leonard, and Karen Goulet, who have done works around like animal relationships, like border issues. And then we also put out a juried call for art, and we were looking for artists that were sharing how they are reconnecting with their cultures and their traditions, their languages. And so we got an additional, we have 8 artists that are sharing work in our space. And then there's also 5 that are showing at the American Swedish Institute. So we are also like cross-pollinating our audiences. So we have people from the ASI community coming here and vice versa. So it's a good way of like sharing our spaces with each other and being more like inclusive and helping our communities be in relationship with each other. I think for me, this was like a very first introduction into understanding like Sami people in the region. So, and also like their different seasons, they have 8 seasons. And, it really kind of felt like it tied into a lot of similarities. Like, we have like 13 moons, they have 8 seasons, they have this migratory relationship with the reindeer. And so, it's starting to build a bridge of understanding of our cultures that we've may not have known about previously, like I didn't. And so this is like those opportunities to learn more about others. And I think that's really helpful and kind of just shared humanity is to be able to be open to understanding about something that you don't previously know about. I've heard people that have grown up here in South Minneapolis who've like driven by the ASI and I always just thought it was like this big mansion. And so sometimes for me, I think like just getting people in the door is that first step to eliminate that access barrier of feeling like I don't get to be there or something like that. So just to be able to have our spaces open to each other. We're talking about kind of hosting some kind of neighborhood tours where we take a group of people from All My Relations down to ASI to be able to see the exhibition in that space. And then maybe be there for the first time. I think the first time I went there was once we started talking about collaborating on this partnership. So, but now it's a cool place to be.
Oh, Angela Two Stars, thank you very much for joining us on the ICT Newscast.
Thank you for having me.
The exhibits at the All My Relations Gallery is up until April 13th, and you can visit the American Swedish Institute exhibit until May 26th. In Phoenix, Arizona, hundreds flock to the Herd Museum for its annual Native Art Market and Fair. It is a chance to showcase the modern-day pieces of Indigenous creatives. ICT's Daniel Herrera has the story of a sculptor who has been making amazing creations for decades, all from marble.
I can't really say that I always knew I was going to be an artist. I ended up going to college and playing football at a small college in Iowa. I came back. I was in the Navy for 4 years. What you did? Came back to the University of New Mexico, graduated, became a bureaucrat in education programs and social work. Ended up doing 14 years at Santa Fe Indian School. Retired early at 55, and I said, what am I going to do? Never done anything in art in my life. And all of a sudden, within a year, I was living a new life. I had reinvented myself. My inspiration is directly from my heritage on both sides. The Santa Clara Pueblo on my mother's side, White Mountain Apache on my father's side. There are some tremendous, significant ceremonial dances that are done. And I've grown up with those dances in my mind and my heritage and participation at Santa Clara Pueblo. And so those images of the dancers and the songs are indelibly imprinted in my mind. They are my main inspiration. It's a wonderful feeling to complete a stone, and a lot of times I'll stand back and look at it and say, wow, did I do that? And a lot of times I don't. It's better than my concept, my original concept. It's better done in 3D. And sometimes it'll take me 6 months or a year to complete a really, really good piece. Other pieces I can do maybe in a month. But to have a completed piece that comes directly from your culture and your memories is really it's a good feeling. The design of the sculpture kind of comes to me sometimes at night, sometimes sitting in front of the TV watching Game of Thrones. I'll do some drawings, and if I really like what I'm doing, I'll expand on the drawing. And then I'll either use the stone that I have, or I'll order stone, and I will, and then draw on the stone, wherever that design is. Sometimes I have to make a template, sometimes not. Then power tools. Seeing it in 3D and using power tools, being careful to always be outside of the line. Because with stone carving, once you make a cut or chip off a piece, you can't put it back. We get one chance when you're a stone carver. One chance to do it right. As a stone sculptor, we got to have stone, obviously. There's different kinds of stone. That's what I found out. There's some beautiful Carrara marble, the best in the world. That's my favorite stone. Portuguese marble I work with, Belgium marble, French marble, and then some domestic Colorado marble, various kinds of marble. It's not like a clay sculpture that if they make a mistake, they throw some more clay on it. So it's an art form that you have to be really, really focused and really specific and be very careful. Collection of power tools is important. Having a big concrete slab to push your rocks around on. I found out that I really enjoyed all the dust and the power tools and the physical nature of it. And I not only enjoyed doing it, but I was pretty good at it. And so it's been a wild trip since then, and things have gone well. I initially started out with, I think, a couple of the small shows, like a Christmas bazaar at the Santa Fe Indian School. I was selling little small stone sculptures. But within a year, I was doing the Santa Fe Indian Market, which is really hard to get into. It's the biggest of all the shows. And then very quickly after that, I was doing 20 shows a year, traveling all over the country from California to Washington, D.C., with stops in between at Indianapolis and Dallas and Oklahoma City. And now after 25 years, I'm down to about 5 or 6 shows. Did the Archery Museum last weekend. Now here at the Herd Museum this year. So it's been great. My last name, Ethelbaugh, is the English translation from my grandfather's name from the White Mountain Apache Reservation. And the Apache word meant gracious. That was his name. So in honor of him, I sign all my word gracious.
That is a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.